Welcome to Getting Real with Real Estate with Danielle Kempf and Jim Kempf, St. Louis's favorite father-daughter real estate team. Your source of real estate information in the greater St. Louis area.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Hello, America.
How's everyone doing out there?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Well, welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Yes, hello, hello.
We're glad to have you.
So today, I'm just going to take on over.
Yeah, what are we going to talk about today, Daniel?
So we've all seen media coverage, the news, and it's all negative, I feel. It's a lot of negative news that, especially around real estate, that the market's going to crash and home prices are plummeting and
Yep, it's a horrible time.
whatnot.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about why it's still a good time to buy a house, and we're
Okay.
going to debunk a few of the media myths
I
that are
love it.
kind of floating around out there.
I love it. Just don't let me get on too long of a rant about the media. So if I do, just give me
I
a
might
kick
hit
in the
you.
shin or
Yeah, I
something.
might kick you under the
Yeah,
table.
something, smack me or whatever. But
Aw.
yeah. But first, as always, we need to start with a joke. So you
A
got a joke
joke?
for us today,
I
Danielle?
do have a joke for the day.
All
Okay,
right.
you ready?
Let's go.
What did an appraiser's wife say when she can't fall asleep?
What does an appraiser's wife say when she can't fall asleep? I don't know, really. What's that?
Honey, tell me about your day at work. That was mean. It was funny, but it was mean.
We love all you appraisers out
We
there.
do.
But you got to admit, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was.
All right, well, good.
Okay, so let's dive on in.
All right, let's dive on in about...
What do we want to talk about? Interest rates, market
No.
crashing. What's the first topic? Media.
Yeah, so
Start with the media.
I'm going to start my rant just
On
a
the
little bit.
soapbox.
It's going to be... I promise I'll keep it short, but,
I'm gonna
yeah.
Time you. Go.
You said it, right? I mean, everything you hear in the media is how bad everything is, right? I mean, the market's crashing, it's a bubble, everything's bad. Rates are so high, inflation's so high, all this negative nonsense. And I mean, granted, there are some things there that are not, maybe they're not ideal, right? But it's I think the media just likes to use fear and try to scare people to get ratings.
That's
And-
valid.
Yeah. And
I mean, it draws news.
yeah, it
gets
just drives me crazy.
coverage.
Though. It drives me crazy. But really, we're gonna. I guess we're gonna just kind of talk about. Sure, there's some negative things. Let's talk.
Oh, yeah.
We can bring interest rates in. Let's start with that.
Start with
right?
that.
That's a
They're
good.
not great right now.
Well, I
Well,
read.
but also, I'll let you say the side part of that. They're higher than what we've been used to since 2019. It's what we're used to the 2-3%, and they did go up drastically.
Yeah.
However, at least we're not back in 1980s.
Yeah. Right. 1982. Right. They were like 17%. Right.
It's like more than that.
Yeah, a little higher than that. And currently, the rates nationally, we looked at some information from the Federal Reserve database. 7.57 is like an average 30-year, is what they're looking at, right? So that is, no doubt about it, guys and gals, that's the highest they've been since about 2000. Okay? In fact, it's just a fact. But that's actually lower than, if you look back to when they started calculating or keeping track of these rates, that's really, it's about average, or it's actually a little lower, really.
Because average is isn't it like 8.5?
It's somewhere
or
right around
something?
8. Yeah,
8.3?
I think that's about right. Somewhere around 8, give or take a little bit.
Yeah.
So, everybody thinking the world's going to end because they don't have a 3% interest rate. It's just, you got to get used to the normal, guys. I mean,
Yeah, this is the new normal.
it's not
At least for a while until
the rates coming out of the pandemic were artificially
inflation.
low.
Yes.
to try to keep the economy, because our economy
Yes.
was in the toilet,
Yes.
quite frankly, right?
And if they drop back down again, that means that our economy is starting to
go back
down.
getting flushed a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get you're never going to see those. I don't say never, but in my opinion, you're never going to see 3% interest rates.
I mean, we really
so
don't
you
want
just
to.
you don't really want to, right? Because if that's the case, that probably means our economy is really struggling, right? And who wants that?
I know.
Right? That means
Yeah.
there's high unemployment. That means your neighbors are out of their job, or you're out of your job, and you just don't. I don't know. So as much as I hate to say it,
I know,
you gotta
I
get
get
used
it,
to it.
I
You just
get
gotta
it,
get
yeah.
used to it, right? I mean, it affects everybody, but that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to dive on into like a kind of side topic of that. And when rates, if and when rates do come back down,
Mm-hmm.
every buyer is going to get back into the market. Every buyer who backed out because interest rates went up
Mm-hmm.
is going to come back in. I mean, I'm part of it. I'd say an entire generation is ready to buy that house. I mean, I'm 26 years old.
Mhm.
I wasn't ready in 2020 when all the rates were 3%. Wish I was, but I wasn't.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people around my age, the younger people, first-time home buyers, we're all ready for that. We're ready for interest rates to come back down. And like you said, we really don't want to, but, with affordability right now, with prices going up, it would be nice to have that lower interest rate. So there's just an entire generation. And if you're waiting for rates to drop back down, you and everybody else is waiting for that.
Yeah, I mean, so the market, the number of homes on the market is still, it's pretty low, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to see that increase a little bit, but it's like you said, if rates were to drop a point, you would have so many people jumping back into the market that would just create that excessive demand,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to go right back to the way it was like in 2020 when the pandemic hit and
With
everybody
all the
was.
multiple offers.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if that's.
I don't really want that.
For folks who are thinking about buying, yeah, I mean, like right now, not all houses, not all.
No, but the good houses are still going quickly, and sometimes they're even getting multiple offers, maybe like 2, 3 multiple offers, not like the 5 to 8, 10 plus multiple offers that we saw definitely during COVID.
Yeah, inventory. Sales numbers, sales volumes are down in our market right now. We know that they're down across the state, but days on market, those are pretty down as well a little bit. But the inventory is a little bit bad. Well, the inventory is down, I guess, but you are still seeing some houses where, as a buyer, the homes are sitting on the market just a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows you to. I'm not going to say you're going to get 10% off of list price, but you got some room to negotiate now, I think, that you didn't have a year
And you
ago.
have time to make a decision, too, because I don't want to say a lot of people, but, like, maybe some buyers felt rushed into buying a home because they're I just need a place, this is my, 5th, 6th offer that I've put in and I didn't get in, and not settling on a home per se, but you have more time to decide if it's really a good fit for you or not.
Yeah, I would agree. What other topic there, Danielle, did you want to talk about? Let's talk about the crash.
Oh, which one? The one coming up or the one that we had?
Well, that goes back to the media part.
Yeah.
I just I'm going back to thrash on the media again here a little bit. Everybody, there's people out there that are saying the market's going to, prices are going to crash by 20 to 25%, right?
Yeah, I got that somewhere. That Austin prices have dropped by 19%.
Yeah, there's a couple markets where prices are down a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
But I don't see that in St. Louis. Do you?
No, I think the Midwest has actually been fairly solid,
Agreed.
really. And if you look at price improvements over the last several years, right? And I'm just going to use some state of Missouri numbers. This is going to be, in my opinion, what we talk about here, and we've maybe kind of talked a little bit about this before on other podcasts, but this is one of the prime reasons that I think people should consider going ahead and getting into the market and buying. Now, if it works for you, is because if you look at going back to January of 2013, right? I looked at some numbers going back 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows I'm a numbers guy by now. If you don't, you know.
Welcome to the show.
Right, welcome to the show. You're the first-time listener, and we appreciate you being here. So average price of a house, average sale price, was $141,000 in January of 2013. Okay, today, September of 23. Well, it's not September right now, but
that's when the numbers were.
When the numbers came out, right? Almost $14,000. Okay, so if you look at that, that's a $172,000 increase over 10 years. That works out to be right around an 8% annual return on your investment, right? So if you bought a house 10 years ago, congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's more than doubled in value.
That's awesome.
Well, not quite doubled in value. So, excuse my error there, but that's a really good reason to buy a house, right? If you're renting a house right now, you're just paying somebody else's mortgage.
You're paying somebody else's mortgage, and I'll throw this in. Rates will eventually drop back down. You'll be able to refinance at some point if you buy a home today. Like Jim just said, that sale price of the home is going up and up and up and up.
It's going to keep going up.
And it's going to keep going up. It's not going to crash back down.
Right.
So today, if you go enter the housing market, today is the lowest those houses are probably going to be. Because next year they're just going to be higher. And if you wait another year after that, they're just going to get higher and higher.
Right. And so, like folks who are out there thinking, well, no, there's going to be a crash, the media's talking about the bubble and this and that. The reason there's not going to be a crash is because ever since the Depression, right, the Great Recession, I guess we should call it, back in around 08, 09, 10, in that time period, right, home prices did go down. They went down, I think if you add up the 2 years, they really went down. It was somewhere around 14%, okay? So, and that was the worst that we've ever seen that happen, going all the way back to the Great Depression. Depressions and recessions, whichever. But so the depression was in the 30s, right? The recession was in the 2000, almost 10. So, they did go down about 14% then. Everybody's looking for that again, but that's not going to happen, guys. I hate to, if you're thinking that, the reason it's not is because, number one, again, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Were you wanting to stop me there?
No, I'm just doing
okay.
number one.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, shut up, Jim.
Well, I mean, I did have
Rail.
one little funny side topic. You said
What?
back in the 30s, and give it 7 more years, and it will be the 30s again.
Well, that's true.
So,
Yeah, okay.
so if someone's listening to this in like 2033, we're in 2023 right
Yeah.
now. Anyway, continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, now you totally blew my train of thought, but
Why it's not going to happen.
yeah,
You're on
okay.
point
So,
one.
so the first thing is, right, ever since, I'll go back to prior to that situation, right? Lending standards were different, right? They were fog a mirror and get a loan. Yeah, thank you for the visual there. But that's true. It really was. I mean, there was a lot of things going on there that inflated prices for no real reason.
There's
okay?
just no
real
structure.
economic reason, right?
Oh.
There was a demand,
Yeah.
more demand because more people could buy a house, but a lot of those folks just quite honestly shouldn't have been able to buy a house for reasons like you really don't have very good credit.
And
or-
wasn't
or
it
you're
that like
lying
you
about
could
your
just
income.
like you could lie about your income so you
Stated
could get the
income
bigger
loans.
house.
You could get a stated
and then
income
you
loan.
can't really just afford it, or the negative amortization loans. They did a lot
Yeah.
of those back then too.
A lot of
didn't
those
they?
things. Yep, a lot of those things got people in trouble. You really don't. You haven't had that since that time, right? There's been
So
reforms.
many more.
There's been reforms on lending that make it much more stringent, and so the people who are in a home right now and paying a mortgage, their credit quality is much higher than it was back then. So that's point number one.
Okay.
Point number two, right, is as we all know, since even say just since COVID, right, home prices in Missouri, the equity people have in their homes is like 38 or 39% higher than it was pre-COVID. So that means everybody's got equity.
Yep.
Everybody has a ton of equity. A lot of they're much higher net worth, right? Which that's another reason to buy a house because it helps improve your net worth over time.
We've talked about that before.
Talked about that before too. So everybody's got equity. So let's say, God forbid, you did lose your job and you had a crisis, and you had to sell that home. You could sell that home.
Yeah.
Right. There's demand out there. You've got equity. You're not worried about going sideways on your loan and running into a
Foreclosures.
foreclosure or short sale
Yeah.
situation. Those kind of things. So that's out of the mix.
Yeah, and I'm just going to chime in on the foreclosures. There's not many out there right now.
No, it's
and
very
all the
low.
homeowners who have owned their home, they're all locked into that 3% rate. So like you just kind of said, if they do start getting in financial trouble, they can sell and they're still might end up with a little bit of equity in their pocket at the end of the
Right.
day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They could sell that house, walk away, and have money,
Yeah.
right, to spare. So obviously that's not an ideal situation, but that's just why there's not going to be a crash. There's still a shortage of inventory, no matter how you look at it.
Yes.
And there's not going to be a crash. Now, a little bit of a tangent that I will throw in there
Okay.
is commercial real estate's a little different. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty well documented that there are some issues going on in the commercial markets now that I think the media is picking up on that and they're talking about how that might blow up a little bit, and I would tend to agree a little bit on that because that's a different situation, okay? But it's not going to affect your home, okay?
Yeah.
That's my spin because with the commercial stuff, you and I were just kind of
We were
chatting about
talking,
it
like workplaces,
earlier.
like not a lot of people go into the office anymore. So
If you own an office building, right?
you're losing tenants.
Your vacancy rates are higher now because
People are working from home.
they're all working from home. The companies who are renting that space are probably
Don't
not
need it
renewing
anymore.
leases. They don't need the space. So, and then the other part of that is too, the loans that you get on a commercial deal are different than your kind of standard 30-year or
Yeah, they're a
15-year
shorter
fixed
term.
loan. Yeah, they're going to be
They're
a
like-
3 to 5 year loan that you have to renew every couple of years. And now, as those are coming due, which they are, from that 3% or whatever, 3, 4, whatever percent they might be at, they're now going to be at 8.
Yeah.
And so that's putting a real damper on the folks who own that commercial property. And that, I do agree, that's going to be an issue, and that could be kind of a storm there. But I just, in the
That
housing
shouldn't
market,
affect, the
housing
residential
market, which
side
is
of
what we're
it.
talking about, it's
it.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
And my crystal ball is no better than the next guy's, but I think the facts are
The facts.
pretty clear.
Yeah, and then there's always, like, we kind of joke that there's like 3 or 5 D's in real estate. There's death, divorce, diapers, downsizing, and I always forget the 5th one because you don't say diapers and downsizing.
I only got
added
3
those.
Ds. Yeah, I only
Which
have
is
3.
what are yours? Death, divorce, and
Disease.
that's
So
the same
people
as
get
death.
sick. No, not really. People might get sick and have to move out of their home.
Okay.
It's similar.
I think it might be like debt or something like that. Whatever.
But
But anyway, things are always happening. People are like, families are moving in together. Families are growing. Kids are going off to college. Parents are downsizing. Things are always happening. People are always going to buy and sell real estate.
Yeah, and I think kind of what I know, like what we're seeing really is a lot of the sales that the listings that we're getting are people who have to sell for various reasons.
Yeah.
Job transfers,
Yeah.
families growing,
Families is a big
got to get a
one.
bigger house. That's a big one. Getting closer to family, that's a big one too for
True.
a lot of folks.
Mhm.
Luckily we haven't seen a lot of people pass away. We don't want to have to
No.
sell your house because of that reason, but life things happen. So there's always going to be some need to buy and sell. But anyway, yeah.
Anyway, and then I don't know if you have any more topics after that, but I'm going to dive into one other little topic.
Go
So,
for it.
when is the best time of the year to buy a house?
Whenever you find the house you love, I would say.
Oh, okay. Well, so
That's my answer. What's
so
the
I
real
did some
answer?
I don't think there is a real answer. I think that is the real answer. But some of my research, some of my findings, and like I would tend to agree with this throughout seeing the markets, is that I don't want to say worse. The more expensive, the more competition you're going to have is in the spring and summer because that's when, spring or like the spring selling season, you have the curb appeal, you're finding a home before school starts.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's when all the competition, it picks up.
It does.
And then kind of around Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, it kind of dips back down in the holidays because you don't want to battle Santa Claus.
I agree with that.
Inventory drops down. There are, like you said, job relocations. Those kind of start popping up more at the end of the year because people relocate at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So like if you're listening to this
If you're thinking
in
about
November,
buying, this could be a
when
really
we're
good time
releasing
for you.
this is a really good time because there's not as much competition out in the market in St. Louis.
Well, and I'll give you some statistics to kind of prove that. Last year, right?
Yeah.
From November, like if you look at the number of sales in November, was like 2,700, a little over 2,700.
Yeah.
And then it kind of dropped from November through January. It hit its kind of low in January, probably somewhere around 18 or 1850, something like that. So that just means that there were less people out there looking for a home because the days on market, went up during that time of year because a lot of folks weren't really in the market because of what you said. People are battling Santa Claus and you got the holidays, and some people just don't want to move then.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have to.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, it also gets dark at 4 o'clock, and who wants to see a house in the dark?
Yeah, but if you're looking and
It's a
you're
great
looking to
time.
buy, you don't have a lot of competition from other buyers.
Exactly.
So that's I would totally agree with you. I think that's a that's a great point. And so if people find the house that they want and they love, guys, just grab it. I think is my that would be my advice to you.
I'd agree. I'd agree.
I personally, I don't think rates are going to go too super. They're not going to get super low, but they might drop a little bit in the next couple of years. And if they do, great. Take advantage of refi, and then you can lower your payments a little bit. I will say, it's not all rosy. I will say that, like, for our first-time home buyers, it is a little bit of a struggle.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean, that's kind of, I think,
the
well
housing
documented.
affordability, you have that.
Yeah, so affordability has, it has dropped for
It's dropped
first-time
down,
home buyers.
and you want that number to be higher, right?
Yeah, so if you, just as a comparison, right? So in 2020, and this is from the National Association of Realtors statistics, but their first-time homebuyer index was 111.9. I don't know the exact calculation. I'm not going to say I do how they come to that number, but I will tell you the higher the number, the better, right? And so in the second quarter of 2023, that number is down to 61.4. So that's tough, right? Mm-hmm. That's a tough one. The home prices for a starter home went from $255 in 2020, and they're $342,000 now. So that's like a 34% increase.
Yeah.
So
and
that
then say
part.
the one that you found about the.
So the Midwest.
Or the house
Oh, the income.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well.
And I feel like that's a good comparison to know with it, as the home and crisis.
Payment to income, your monthly P&I, is that the one you're talking about? So your monthly P&I is, and here's good news about us being in the Midwest. Okay, the Midwest overall, the affordability index is almost 120. Okay, and that's overall affordability index. But in our market, the monthly principal and interest payments is about $1,670. Now that is up substantially from 2020, but we are in the most affordable part of the country, the Midwest. So that, I mean, take some solace in that.
That's the chart I was looking at.
Oh, you're talking about
the
income part?
Yeah.
Incomes are up 8. So first-time home buyer, going back to that, their income is up about 8%, but the house price is up 34% from 2020. So it hasn't kept pace.
No, it hasn't. I think that's that is a huge factor in the affordability part of it.
That is the one area of, I think, the real estate market that is those affordable first-time home buyer kind of houses. You just don't see them much anymore.
No.
And they're not being built. Builders are building stuff that starts in the, probably
like the ones down in
400.
Afton, they're 2-3 bedrooms, already starting in the high 500s.
So it is tough on our first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna lie about that.
No.
But again, I would still just tell our first-time home buyers that it's still,
you can't go in the past. You can't rewind time and go buy back in 2020. So now's as good a time to buy as any.
Yeah, I would say go for it, and your house is your value. You're gonna start building equity.
You're gonna start building equity
That's
immediately.
The main thing. Right. Because home prices are not going down. Home prices in Missouri, if I look at the last year, they're up 4.7% in the last year. Okay, so that's a pretty decent number.
Yeah.
I think historically that ranges between 2 and 3%, but over the last decade, like we stated earlier, it's like 8%.
It was 8,
which is huge. So why wait now? Get on board on that and let your start instead of paying a landlord's rent or instead of paying a landlord's mortgage, pay your own mortgage. Build equity, build your net worth, and I think in the long haul you're just going to come out way farther ahead.
Agreed.
In life. So.
So if you have any questions about buying in today's market,
we talked a lot there.
Call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if you just even want to talk about, is now a good time for you? Given your whole situation, we'll help you through that.
Or if you just want to plan.
Yeah, if you are thinking about maybe doing it next year.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost already next year, but if you think about it next year, 2024, 2025, let's just have a chat.
Yeah, we don't care if you're going to buy next month or next year or 5 years from now.
10 years.
If we can help you get kind of a game plan and figure out what you need to do to get ready to buy a house, we would absolutely love to have a chance to just have a chat like Danielle said. So with that, I think we'll sign off for today.
Signing
Yep.
off.
All right.
Have a good one, folks.
MIZ.
You've been listening to Getting Real with Real Estate with the Kemp team. Have questions about real estate or something you'd like to discuss? Contact the Kemp team at 314-336-1926 or visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Kemp Team. Don't want to miss any episodes? Follow us on your favorite podcast app or YouTube. The Kemp Team. Real, honest real estate.